Language in general is the means by which objects communicate with each other within a specified geographical and spatial range. With the beginning of man's ability to speak, there are many languages have formed over time and human periods, and some of them have remained in use and alive. Whereas most of them have disappeared or faded and disappeared forever. There are more than 7,000 languages in the world, and each has its own history and voices. Estimates have shown that nearly 500,000 of the world's population is multilingual, so the absolute numbers of people who speak those languages are much higher. On the other hand, English is the third most common language in the world. As these numbers may reflect the number of speakers only. World order of languages. It is difficult to count the number of people who speak a specific language, but there are many sources that provide information on the number of people who speak a specific language as a mother language or as a second language, and languages around the world can be arranged in terms of prevalence as follows. 1. English. It is the language of the times and the language of technology, and more than 1.5 billion speakers use it and speak it as a native language or as a secondary language. The proportion of speakers of English language around the world is approximately 25%, which is the official language in many countries, and speakers of it are spread all over the world, including New Zealand, the United States, Australia, England, Zimbabwe, the Caribbean, Hong Kong, South Africa, Canada, along with millions of other people, speak English as a second language as the most popular language in the world. 2. Mandarin, Chinese. The proportion of the number of its speakers is 18.05%, and their number exceeds 1 billion people, and it is the language of the country of China with the largest population in the world, and the Chinese language does not contain alphabet, rather it is used as illustrations instead, for every word has a drawing or diagram. Also spoken in this language in Taiwan and Singapore, is noteworthy that Mandarin has a large number of dialects. 3. Hindi. The percentage of speakers in this language is 11.51% of the world's population, which is the official language in India, Fiji Islands, South Africa, Mauritius, Yemen, Uganda, and even the United States. 4. Arabic. The proportion of the number of its speakers in the world is 6.6%, and Arabic is one of the oldest languages in the world, and the majority of speakers are present in the Middle East and North Africa, especially the Arab countries, and millions are accepted to learn Arabic because it is the language of the Holy Quran, and in 1974 AD its adoption as the official language of the United Nations. 5. The Spanish language. The proportion of the number of its speakers in the world is 6.25%, and their number reaches approximately 400 million people, and it is spoken in the countries of Central America and South America, in addition to Spain and parts of the United States of America. 6. Russian language. The proportion of the number of speakers is 3.95%, and they are distributed in many countries of the republics of the former Soviet Union, including Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan, which is the most widespread Slavic language, and one of the official languages in the United Nations, which is an informal language, but speaking as it is widely used in Ukraine and Lithuania. 7. Portuguese. 3.26% of the world's population speaks to Brazil, Portugal, Macau, Angola, Venezuela, and Mozambique. This language spread throughout the world during the emergence of Portugal as a great colonial power in the 15th and 16th centuries, and spanned from Brazil to Macau in China. Today it is one of the main languages in the world, as it is the largest language in South America in terms of the number of speakers in it, and it is also a major language in a number of African countries. 8. The Bengali language. 3.19% of the speakers of the world population, of whom about 120 million are residents of Bangladesh, which is also the language of the state of West Bengal in India. 9. French. 3.05% of the speakers speak it, and 32 countries use it as the official language, most of whom speak French as their mother tongue or French, and the rest are spread between Canada, Belgium, Switzerland, and Africa. 10. German language. 2.77% of speakers speak it around the world, and its origins are in Germanic languages, and it is considered one of the mother languages most widely spoken in the European Union, and one of the most famous countries in this language, Germany and Austria. In terms of difficulty, languages differ in the degree of difficulty in learning them due to their different origins and conditions of origin. For example, the Chinese language does not contain letters, the Arabic language is characterized by its large language, and the Russian language with sounds of strange characters, so it is not possible to adopt specific criteria to determine the most difficult language, but many matters are taken into account in determining this matter. The arrangement of the most difficult languages around the world can be arranged as follows: 1. Arabic. 2. The Japanese language. 3. Chinese language. 4. The Korean language. 5. Turkish, Hindi, Russian, Vietnamese, Thai, Serbian, Greek. 6. Hebrew. Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, Italian, Swedish and French. In terms of the number of words. Language, by its nature, is a set of words that a person arranges in order to give the desired meaning. Languages vary according to the number of words they contain, and here is a list of some languages arranged according to the number of words they contain. 1. The Arabic language contains 12,302,912 words without repetition. 2. English language and contains 600,000 words. 3. French language and contains 150,000 words. 4. Russian language and contains 130,000 words. In terms of old. Despite the development of languages throughout history, some languages are still used in the current era, and languages have been exposed through time to many ongoing development and modernization processes according to climate change, economic, social, political and natural in the world, which leads to changing perceptions, awareness and thinking in humans. This, in turn, leads to the development of linguistic terms and the emergence of new linguistic terms, and the following is a list of the oldest languages in the world. 1. The Greek language. It dates back to 1500 BC, and was the official language of the country of philosophers and thinkers Greece. 2. Tamil. The origin of this language, which is spoken by more than 75 million people, dates back to 300 BC, and it is an official language recognized in India and Singapore. 3. The Persian language. It is the official language of Iran and Tajikistan, and dates back to 800 AD. 4. Latin. It is one of the oldest languages in history, if not the most ancient, and it is the source of many modern languages, and its history dates back to 45 BC in the era of the Roman Empire. 5. Hebrew. It is considered one of the oldest languages in the world. Where it stopped its use in the year 400 AD, and returned to the scene with the escalation of Jews in the world, where it is now spoken by more than 9 million people spread around the world. 6. Basque. It is one of the most distinguished languages. As the origins of this language do not belong to any language in the world. Want to learn a new language? These are the 5 easiest languages to learn. Learning a new language is not an easy task, as it requires motivation, persistence, and commitment. However, it is easier to learn some languages than others. To facilitate your path to multilingualism, here are the easiest languages to learn. Consider learning these languages the first step to boosting your self-confidence, then go on to learn other languages that have even more challenges, such as Mandarin. English. It is the most popular and widely used language in the world, making it very easy to practice it. Her words are short, and do not differentiate between male and female in addressing. English is the mother tongue of 360 million people worldwide, and has nearly 2 billion speakers, 1/3 of the world's population. French language. It is the mother tongue of more than 100 million people, and is the official language in 28 countries on 7 continents. This means that you can practice the French language almost everywhere you go, and you should. The French language belongs to the family of Romantic languages, and French words are familiar to English speakers. Linguists have emphasized that there are more words in common between these two languages than any of the other languages belonging to this group, and this is because 1/3 of the English vocabulary is affected by French words. Spanish. The Spanish language is very influenced by Arabic and Latin, and it is pronounced as you write, and it has some differences from the other Romantic languages. Studies show that the United States of America will officially transform into a bilingual country by 2050 as its population will speak English and Spanish. Italian language. The number of Italian speakers ranges between 70 million and 125 million people around the world. They are located in Italy, Switzerland, Malta, and 25 other countries. Although the grammar of the Italian language is similar to the rules of the rest of the Romance languages, the number of verbs in it is less compared to the French and Spanish languages. There is no doubt that you know some Italian words, such as spaghetti, pizza, and Ferrari. Swahili language. It is the language of the Bantu tribes, and is a gateway to African culture. In this language, you find the clear effect of Arabic, English, French, German and Portuguese. This language does not depend as much on the conjugation of verbs and grammar as it depends on the origin of the word and on the detailed description of the meaning. Swahili speaks more than 140 million people in Eastern Africa, Tanzania and Kenya. Swahili is the most used language on the African continent, after Arabic. Thank you for watching.